Okay, now let's talk about Jello effect. The Jello effect is like kind of a Jello thing, like wobbling effect coming out of your GoPro taken videos. This happens when you do not fasten well your GoPro, and if you do not mount well, this kind of effects will happen and your video is going to be like a crab. So when you see my video here, the thing is that so I made a tutorial about this, but never buy this mount. What you see here, I bought it in AliExpress and it was made in 3D printed stuff, but it's really sucks. It has so many vibration on it. So I want to recommend you this if you want to buy a mount for DJI FPV, which is in AliExpress also. It's about like only $10. When you buy this, that you will have to know that there is a cushion just below this mount at the top of this mount, but the thing is that is not enough cushion. Still, the vibration of FPV will be sent to your GoPro, so you have to add additionally just buy the 3M tape, which is a kind of a which has a kind of a cushion. You know that red tape, right? So if you put it under all these three sides, then that cushion will reduce the vibration of your FPV to your GoPro, so the wobbling effect will not happen. So so in this video, I talked about why this kind of things happen, and if you know the reason, then you can block it. But so when you start FPV, and if you add your GoPro on your FPV, DJI FPV or custom FPV, you're going to be really questioning, like, why is this kind of wobbling effect happening? Because that was happening. One more time, you have to fasten very well not with your fingers, but spanners, and then you have to put enough 3M tape as a cushion, which will reduce the vibration sending to your GoPro. And if you have DJI FPV, you really have to try this. DJI FPV has this kind of a front sensor and it has a bottom sensor. So this acts like an antenna of a cat in the face. So even the cat has this kind of antenna to go through this like very narrow bamboos or something in the forest with this kind of a sensors. Exactly, this is the same. I think no birds can fly like this, but we can. If you fly like this in between the woods, in between these leaves, in between these kind of branches, you're gonna really concentrate, and this will give you a big joy, because you have to know that there's a kind of a theory that if you really concentrate on something, you will relieve your stress. That's one of the methods to relieve the stress in this kind of very complex world. So when you try this in the weekends, I bet you're going to be really your stress going to go away. And if you go very close to some kind of these kind of leaves, it automatically DJI FPV stops. So it's quite easy to maneuver your drone in between these kind of trees. So please bring your FPV and go back to your backyards and go to the woods and try this, and it's going to be like super hell fun. I really recommend that. You really have to experience that. Of course, yes, a DJI Avatar can also do that with a propeller guard, but still, DJI FPV was a little bit much fun compared to DJI Avatar. And my channel deals a lot of flying spots in Korea. So even the foreigners, when they watch my YouTube channel, they say, I never knew Korea was this beautiful. And I never knew there were so many spots to fly like this. So they ask me, where is this and where is that? So here is one of the, I think, best spots in Korea, which is like 1 hour and 30 minutes away from Seoul. It's just called Sollungdari, Chulongdari. Sogumsan means Sogum Mountain, which has these kind of valleys, it has these kind of streams, it has this kind of resort, and it has this kind of blue suspension bridge like this, which is really a good spot to fly your FPV. And when you go beyond this place, if you follow this stream here, if you follow this river, you will see this kind of bungalows, which is a resort, and you will see this new built yellow bridge, which is called Sogumsan Ulongdari, which means bridge that moves. And the floor of this bridge is actually glass. So when you walk over that, it's kind of very freaking out bridge if you go there. But it has a really nice scenery. So I really want you to go there and fly your FPV there also. And when you visit Seoul, there is a kind of an architecture like this, which is like, it looks really super futuristic building designed by an Iraqi lady architect named Zaha Hadid. She built this in 2008. It was designed in 2008 and it was built about like 2012, I think. And I was very curious whether will I succeed to go through that hole and go up and come back again. Can I loop kind of these kind of flight in this building? But I succeeded, as you can see here. Actually, the signal went a little bit bad when you were going up and the building was blocking, but still, when you go up a little bit faster, then the antenna will be connected again. So it was quite very fun experience. But unfortunately, these days, the flight approval is not approved there these days because the presidential office moved to near that place. And the third place I want to recommend is Busan. Busan is Korea's second largest city, and it has this really beautiful bridge called Gwangan Bridge. It's also a suspension bridge. But even the DJI noticed that you should never fly near the steel structure, like a structure like this kind of a bridge, because these kind of bridge sends out kind of interference signal for sure. I don't know, it could be a magnetic signal or it could be kind of a signal frequency coming out from this, maybe radio signal coming out from this metal structure. And the thing was that my FPV just stopped over this bridge. When I looked down, there was like car moving really fast, and I only had like 5 minutes of batteries left, and the battery was coming low, and it had only like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. The thing was that if there's kind of like these kind of signal interference, the DJI FPV, what happens is that you cannot go forward, you cannot go backwards, you cannot go left or right. You can just hover there and just circle around, and you can just go up and down only. So I was so scared because my battery was only 1 minute and 30 seconds left. The thing, when this happens to you, what you have to do if you have these kind of interference, just pull up your FPV as highest as you can, because the thing is that the high winds can push your drone away from the bridge. So even though it won't crash on the bridge, so it's going to be safe. Or if you fly high, the signal might be connected, which happened to me, so I survived that day. It was really frustrating and freaking out situation, and I also argued to DJI that they should fix this kind of interference problem of not moving going forward or backwards or left or right. But what DJI says is that we noticed that already, and that you should never go near the metal structure because there's interference. So they say they have no problem about that. Anyway, we should know these kind of problems, so you should never go to those kind of suspension bridge, like the steel bridge, like those kind of top towers, which will have interference for sure. I will never go over the bridge again. And this video, I received Avatar 1 month previous to the launch of Avatar, which was launched in 2022 August, right? So I had the opportunity to review. And the fourth place I want to recommend is called Hwangsan Mountain. It's at the coast mount. It's kind of a coast mountain. It's a beautiful place to fly. And over there, I compared DJI Avatar and DJI FPV, and I compared the flight of these two FPVs, and I show you will see what is the difference, the speed and the style. You will exactly see how it's like in this video. And my Tohwangseong, which means Tohwangseong Waterfall, my all skills are embedded here. My all skills are popped up here, and I think that was one of my best videos I've ever taken till today. So if you go to community tab here in my YouTube channel, here I put about the signal stuff, because a lot of people were asking when they watch that video, they say, how can you fly 2 kilometers far away while you're flying in between the valleys, deep valleys? That should be impossible. How did you manage the antenna, the signal strength, and where were you standing? How is that possible? So this is the article that I'm dealing about why this is not disconnected and what you have to be cautious of. So when you go there, you have to always look around. You have to see where where the signals are blocked with like a mountain ridge. But you can see that that A point is where the waterfall is, but you can see that it's in a straight line from your observatory of the mountain, about like 2 kilometers far away. So it's exactly like flying a kite. The line should be connected, and when the lines are connected, you will not lose your signal. So it explains very well, specifically about that in English. So try to read that article to understand how the signal works with your FPV. So this is very important to understand when you're flying the mountains. This is so I think this article will help you a lot for sure. And Tohwangseong, this waterfall was actual national park in Korea. So in Korea, national park is forbidden to fly drones. But if you have somebody who you know in broadcast companies such as SBS or KBS, uh, if you they could give you help to get an approval because they're kind of a public organization to get an approval. So it's not approved for individuals in Korea. You should know this that. So don't try to fly there in national park and get fined. It's going to be like about like $3,000, $3,000 as a fine. So never just fly. So try to go there with a right purpose and right approval. But anyway, this place is super beautiful place to dive and like pass through these kind of valleys and these kind of waterfalls and these kind of very, very narrow mountains. So it's very cool place to fly anyway. I really want to recommend this place if you come to Korea. And to take very good cinematic shots, there's one tip for this. I always look around and read the topography, to read the mountains and read the area for like 20 minutes. And I draw the flight route in my mind before I fly. So I try to get a line, draw a line where I'm going to fly and what kind of story I'm going to tell in this very nice environment. This also is same should be applied when you're flying in like in cities. You have to always like draw the flight route in your mind to get a very nice cinematic shots. Because if you have kind of some kind of these kind of hesitations, people will recognize that you're hesitating while you're flying, which will not look very fluently. So to shoot very natural shots, I want to recommend that you have to always put in mind that you have to draw the flight route before you're flying. And when you watch this video, what I want to tell is that there's the two things about this video. So in January 2020, January 1st, 2023, I went here. And the thing is that first you have to read where the sun is. It's always very important to it's very important to understand about the light. Where is the focal point? Where is the sun? And you always have to think about this. And then if when you're editing, try to accelerate like this and decelerate in 100%. So in acceleration, maybe 150% to like 200%. If you accelerate your video, people will feel more immersive video. So it's going to be more interesting to watch your video in these kind of cinematic style. So and try to reverse your video in a certain point, because if you go forward, you can see what's coming, right? You know what's upcoming. But when you go reverse and when you go backwards, people will not know what's upcoming. So that means it brings more interest to your cinematic videos, because you don't know what's coming up, right? You don't know whether these kind of trees will come up. You will never know that these kind of pergolas will come up. So it's more interesting to watch because you don't know what's going to happen. Your drone videos, try to always add these kind of reverse footages in your videos also when you're editing. It will, I'm sure that people will be more interested to your video. So that's what I would talk about in this video shot. How to control your FPV, which is English is this left version, which is in blue, with the same thumbnails. But you will, if you watch it, you will easily understand how to fly FPV when you're starting your FPV flight. So I would really want to recommend that video. And about this apartment flying, I really want to tell this because mostly when you fly your FPV or avatar or DJI FPV behind the buildings, the thing is that you will lose your signal. Yeah, avatar is a little bit better if you go behind the building, but here, when you see this video, when you're flying in concrete apartments, what you see is here that because there's windows at the front and the back, which is kind of a hole at the front side and the back side, that means the signals will go through these concrete apartments for sure. So even though you go like back of like beyond 1 block, 2 block, and 3 blocks and 4 blocks, you will be very surprised that still your FPV will fly very well with very good signals. So I was wondering, like, why is this possible? How can this be possible? But if you watch this video and this kind of environment, which is in concrete apartment, you have to know that there will be a good signals instead of this kind of metal structured building, the steel structured building. So with that experience, I was able to fly more professionally in the other apartment like that. And when you're flying in very open fields like this, the video right here, which is when I was flying in the mountains, you will have really, really good signal strength compared to city flight. So when you watch this video, you'll see that my DJI FPV fly over more than 2 kilometers and it will come back to me, and then with enough battery I could do one diving there also. So I was once more very surprised to fly in this place because I was able to fly like 2 kilometers far away, which is really, really far away, and there was kind of these kind of waterfalls here also. But then I dived and now I'm coming back, and I was at that waterfall, which was like 2 kilometers far away, and that's Korea's the third biggest waterfall in Korea. And I was able to go to these kind of valleys right here, and I was at the above of this observatory right there. And the thing was that my signal are reflected in between these valleys. You can see that the signals are being reflected and reflected and reflected. That's why even though you go like below these valleys, the antennas are still working. If you understand about these kind of reflections of the signal, then you're going to be more bold to fly like this in this kind of places. Exactly the same like the apartment buildings, because the apartments was able to reflect all the signals in between those buildings. That's why the signal was good. But if you watch this video, which is called Mebain Gongpokyo, you will see the difference. Even though there's a cliff here like this, a valley like this, when you go up, and I was actually right there at the observatory there at the top of that mountain. And if there's a valley, if there's a mountain in front of that waterfall, that cliff, then the signal will be reflected and you will have a good signal. But right here, as there's no wall in front of that, from that observatory, the thing is that there's no place to reflect your signal of your avatar. And that means you're going to lose signal when you go below that waterfall. When you're at the top of the mountain, when you fly below that waterfall, avatar was okay, but DJI FPV lost its signal. So you always have to think about these kind of reflections of your FPV. Is there kind of a wall or like kind of a wall in front of you? Was it able to reflect your signal? You always have to think about this. Now now let's watch this cloud surfing video, and you will understand that this will be the most like beautiful experience you will ever have in your life for sure. You have to try this. So in Korea, there's called a Gapyeong rest area where you can park your cars while going to the east highway, and then you will find this place. And the thing is that there, and beyond that cliff, beyond that trees, is kind of a small cliff. So the rising air from the other field, the rising air and the rising moisture form this kind of cloud formation, and this often appear in the morning times. So this is a very good place to find these kind of low clouds. So, but in Korea, if you want to fly over 500 meters, so because in Korea, 150 meters is the limitation, but if you want to fly over 150 meters, you have to get a special flight permission, which is required in Korea. So ask your friends nearby, the Koreans, to get this kind of approval for you. And if you fly like this, you'll understand that this is like the utmost experience you can ever have with your FPV, flying inside the clouds. You're gonna feel the real freedom when you fly inside the clouds. That's what I felt. I felt like I was flying into heaven. I felt like I was an angel. You gotta try this if you have FPV in your country or wherever you go. Take your FPV and try to fly in between the clouds. This is like unforgettable moments in your life.